All right, so starting on our homework for tonight. Okay. Number 1 is talking about a Clydesdale drinks about 120 gallons of water every 4 days. So there's my ratio. Am I good with that? So in my ratio, I'm going to put 120 gallons over 4 days. It says, how many gallons of water does a Clydesdale, that should say does a Clydesdale, drink in 28 days? So my next fraction down here, where is that 28 going to go, RJ?
Bottom.
On the bottom. 4 days and 28 days should be on the bottom. Okay. What do I want to do? I need to change 4 to 28. What do we want to do? Morgan? Okay, so we're going to divide by 4. Because what that's going to do is create a 1. And now that I have a 1, what can I do, Morgan? I can times that by 28 to get the 28. All right, whatever I do on this bottom part, we're doing on the top. So 120 divided by 4, Mary Webb?
I was going to ask you
Yes.
as well.
All right, hold on. Mary Webb had a question, yeah.
Could you have also, multiplied 4 by 7?
Absolutely. So what Mary Webb just asked is 4 times 7 gives me 28. So I could have done this in one step just by multiplying by 28 because that's a math fact that I know. All right? And if you want to, Mary Webb, absolutely do that on your paper because that's going to be a lot shorter. All right? What did I get there, RJ? 30. So when I divide by 4, I get 30. And now I have to do times 28. So again, this work is a little bit longer. And what do I get when I multiply that, Peyton? 804. So 804 what? 40. Oh, I'm sorry. 840. All right, make sure we're enunciating that clearly for me, okay? 840. All right. All right, so give me a sentence for that. Give me a sentence to go with that. Very well.
How do you pronounce the
Clydesdale.
Clydesdale drinks 840 gallons in 28 days?
A Clydesdale drinks 840 gallons of water in 28 days. Okay. All right. Number 2. Nate spends $28 on 2 DVDs. So there's my fraction. So I'm going to do $28. I'm just going to put the dollar sign next to it over 2 DVDs. At this rate, how much would 5 DVDs cost? So Keegan, where's the 5 going to go? On the top or the bottom? On the bottom, because that's where my DVDs are. Okay. What would I do to change 2 to 5? What can I do there? Frank? Okay. So 2 times 2 would give me 4. 2 times 3 would give me 6. So I can't just multiply to get 5. So what's our other option? If we can't just go directly there, what can I do, Carrie?
Divide by 1.
Not divide by 1, but divide by 2 in order to make a 1. So divide by 2. So that gives me 1. And then what am I going to do next, Carrie?
Times it by 5.
Times it by 5. And now I'm going to do the same thing on the top. So I'm going to write divided by 2. And 28 divided by 2, Julia? 14. And then we're going to do our times 5. I'm going to write my times 5. Braden? 70. So I get 5 DVDs cost $70. Okay. And that's even a short little sentence. That's good. Number 3, 4 students spend $12 on school lunch. What are my two numbers here, Gabby? 4 and 12. Because I have 4 students, even though it's spelled out in a word, and then $12. So I'm going to put 4 students, and then on the bottom I'm going to put $12. At this rate, find the amount 10 students would spend on the same school lunch. Where is 10 going to go, Haley? On the top or on the bottom? All right, if I'm talking about 10 students, look at my fraction. Where would I set that up with? So students are on the top, so 10 is going to go on the top. Okay, we good with that? All right. I need to change 4 to 10. All right, RJ? We can't do that. We can't go directly there. So what am I going to do? Since I can't go just right to 10, Easton? Divide by 4. So that's going to make a 1 on the top. And then what would I do? Easton? Then we would do times 10. So we're going to do the same thing on the bottom. Divide by 4. 12 divided by 4 is 3. And then we would do times 10, and that gives me 30. So I'd say 10 students spend $30. Jakari?
If you did this on the bottom, would you still do the same answer?
Okay, let me pause. Did you put your 4 students on the bottom and your 12 on top? Yeah. So if you switch this completely around, you would switch the other part completely around. As long as is your 4 and your 10, are they on the same row? That's what you want to check. Is 4 and 10 on the same row? As long as 4 students and 10 students are either both on the top or both on the bottom, you should be okay. All right, if they're not together, though, that's going to be a problem. We're not going to be able to get the right answer. All right, number 4. If 15 baseballs weigh 75 ounces. Okay, so again, there's my fraction, right? So we'll set that up. 15 baseballs over 75 ounces. Okay, draw my fraction down here. All right, Jakari, where am I going to put that 15? On the top or on the bottom? On the bottom. So 15 ounces needs to be on the bottom with 75 ounces. 15 to 75. What can I do there, Peyton? We can divide by 75. Okay, so that's going to give me 1 on the bottom. And then what would I do after that? RJ?
15, 75.
Okay, and what does that give me? 0.2. Okay, and now what am I going to do? Times it by that 15 on the bottom. So times 3. Okay. Guys, another option here. In your calculator, type in 75 divided by 5. That gives me 15, doesn't it? And then if I type in 15 divided by 5, what does it give me? 3. So I could have just divided by 5 going across to get my answer right away. All right? Can you always use a 1, though? You can always make it a 1. All right? So that was 3 baseballs here. And I don't know why I decided to label my second fraction, but I did. Okay. So we'll say 3 baseballs weigh 15 ounces. right, number 5. In 10 minutes, a heart can beat 700 times. So there is my fraction. 10 minutes. 700 times is how many times it's beating. Okay, so 10 minutes, 700 times. At this rate, how many minutes will a heart beat 140 times? All right, so where am I going to write 140, Gabriella? Where am I going to put my 140? On the top or on the bottom? On the bottom, because that's talking about how many times it's beating. So that's going to go on the bottom with 700. What can I do to 700 to make it 140? Julia. Divide by 700, which gives me 1, and then what would I do? Times 140. So let's do that on the top. 10 divided by 700. What's that going to give me? Raise your hand for me. Try. 0.014.
And the line above it.
Above just the 4 or the whole thing? Let's see. Okay. Oh, good question. Okay. So when we type this one in, it is 0.14. But since there's not a number that's staying the same, I'm just going to put dot, dot, dot. All right, which shows it keeps going, but is it the same number over and over? No. All right, and then what am I going to do? Times 140. Now remember, make sure you keep that old answer in the calculator. And what am I going to get when I multiply it by 140, Mary Webb? 2. So, in 2 minutes, a heart beats 140 times. All right, number 6. Suppose 8 out of every 20 students are absent from school. So I know I've got 8 and 20, correct? What is 8 talking about? What is 8 talking about here? Hand. Let's make sure his hand. Keegan? The schools? Not quite. It is talking about school. Shakaria?
Absent from school?
Yeah, this is the 8 that are absent. So I'm going to say 8 absent. And what's the 20 talking about? The students. Says that one. That one's pretty easy because it's together. Okay. Predict how many students would be absent from school less than 5 days in a year out of 40,000 students. So where am I putting 40,000? Jakaria? Julia? Y'all, I am so sorry. Whew. Julia. On the bottom. So 4,000 is going to go on the bottom, 40,000 with students. All right. What would I do? So I need to change 20 to 40,000. What do you think, Mary Webb?
You would divide both of them by 20.
Yeah, divide by 20, so that gives me 1. And then what would I do?
You would divide 8 to... Oh, yeah, did that... I thought you were asking what the answer would be.
I'd have to multiply by 40,000. So we're going to divide by 20, then multiply by 40,000. When we type this into our calculator in a minute, we need to be really, really careful with the number of zeros, okay? So 8 divided by 20. What does that give me, Jakaria?
0.4.
Okay, 0.4. And then we're going to do times 40,000. Make sure you have 1, 2, 3, 4 zeros. So 0.4 times 40,000. Type that in carefully. Julia, you think you got it? 16,000?
Yes.
We all agree? Okay, so 16,000. So how many students would be absent from school less than 5 days out of the year of 40,000 students? So I'm going to say 16,000 out of 40,000 students, and I'm just kind of copying this, so 16 out of 40,000 are absent, less than 5 days a year. All right, these last three can be a little bit tricky, so we're going to pay very close attention as we do the last three. Okay, it says the table shows which school subjects are favored by a group of students. So we're looking at this table over here. It says predict the number of students out of 400 that would pick science. All right, is 400, does it give me another number right now to go with 400? No. So guys, that means 400 isn't going in my first fraction. Okay. 400 is not going in my first fraction. Does it tell me how many in the 400 are going to pick science? No. Where can I tell how many pick science? Where can I look and see how many students pick science? Braden? Yeah, in this table. So how many pick science here? 3. So I'm going to say 3 pick science. Over 400 is talking about the number of students. So what number of students do I have in the chart? What number of students do I have? 20. If I add these all up, that's 20. Do y'all agree? So I'm going to say 3 pick science out of 20 students. Awesome. Give me a sentence, please. All right. Are there any questions on this? This part is a little tricky. Are we okay with this? All right. I know I'm wanting to change it to 400. Which part is changing to 400? The top or the bottom? It says predict the number of students out of 400. The bottom, because we want to know how many pick science. Do I know how many pick science right now? No. So 400 is going on the bottom. All right, what can I do to change it to 400? Peyton? We can divide by 20. Another option, guys, would be just multiply by 20, because 20 times 20 is 400. All right? But we can make it a 1. I know this. I think this is the way that most of us are doing these. It's a little bit easier to do it the same way every time. All right, after I divide by 20, what would I have to do to 1? Times 400. Okay, so on the top, 3 divided by 20. Julia? All right, 0.15, nothing repeating, just 0.15. Good, okay. All right, and then we're going to times that by 400. Jakaria, what do I get?
60. Wait, no. That's not. Oh, yeah, 50.
60? Yeah. Okay. So I'll say 60 students pick science out of 400 students. All right, so this one was tricky because I had to get information off of a chart. Okay. Number 8 is tricky as well because we got to make sure we read it carefully. All right, so number 8 says Lily takes 4 breaths per 10 seconds. That's pretty straightforward, right? So we're going to put 4 breaths on top. Over 10 seconds on the bottom. All right, 4 breaths over 10 seconds. Okay. At this rate, how many breaths would Lily take in 2 minutes? Do I have anything here that matches to 2 minutes? What you see, RJ? seconds. So seconds and minutes are close to each other, but are they the exact same? No. So what do you think I need to do here? Any ideas? What could I do here to make this match? Easton? Times it by? Very well.
Times by 4.
Mm-mm. All right, guys. Yes?
No, I'm gonna divide by 5.
I know that we had 10 seconds. This is asking about 2 minutes. Is there a way to figure out how many seconds 2 minutes is? Christian? Mm-hmm.
Wait, if a minute is 60 seconds, could you divide 2 by 60?
You're closer. So what Mary Webb just said is 1 minute is 60 seconds. But I have 2 minutes here. So how long would 2 minutes be? Gabrielle? 120 seconds. So we're not dividing that, guys. We're multiplying it by 2 because it's happening 2 times. Do y'all agree that 2 minutes is 120 seconds?
Yes.
All right. So I'm going to put 120 in my fraction, and I'm going to put it on the bottom because now it matches the 10. All right, what can I do to 10 to make it 120? Let's try doing this one without a 1. What can I do to 10 to make it 120? Easton? Times 12. 10 times 12 is 120. So that equals 120. So I can do just times 12 on the top. And what does that give me? 48. Guys, could you have still divided by 10 and gotten 1, multiplied by 120 and got my answer? Yes. Isn't this a lot shorter if my numbers are easy? So I'll say Lily takes 48 breaths in, and guys, the question asked about 2 minutes. I know I used 120 in my work, but I'm still going to answer in 2 minutes since that's what was used in the question. All right. Last one. We're going to try to get this one done real quick before we have to go. For store contests, 4 out of every 65 people, please don't pack up or y'all know I'll stop. 4 out of every 65 people who visit a store will receive a free DVD. All right, so I have 4 out of 65. So I know 65 is talking about the people. What is 4 talking about? Peyton? The ones that, it's not talking about 4 DVDs, it's talking about the ones that get a free DVD. So win free DVD. Okay? If 455 people visit a store, how many DVDs are given away? So what would I want to do here? What do we want to do? Mason, help me out on this one. All right, I need to go from 65 to 455. So what would this first step be? We're going to do this like we did all the other ones. So what number do I want to make 65? I know I want to make it 455, but before I go there, I'm going to make it an easier number. I want to make it 455, but before I jump to this really big number, I want to make it something super, 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 super simple. What number have we been changing all the other problems to say? 1. So how would I make 65 1? I would divide by? 65, because 65 divided by 65 is 1. So I get 1 on the bottom. Once I have 1 on the bottom, what can I do to make it 455? Multiply by 1 times what? 455. Okay. So that's what I'm going to do on the top. 4 divided by 65. What does 4 divided by 65 give me? Does anyone got that typed in? Carrie?
We're on this one. 0.06.
Oh,
All right, so it's random numbers, right? Okay. Times 455. And what does that give me when I multiply by 455, Mary Webb? 28. So 28 people get a free DVD out of 455 people. If you will please make sure, if you have one of my calculators, it's returned. Please make sure you return my calculators.